Have you ever wanted your paddle racket to perfectly suit your outfit? Or maybe you have a business that has its own branding requirements and you'd like a paddle racket to suit that perfectly. Well, today you have some good news because the brand Osaka has released a custom paddle racket designer and we're going to test it out today. All right, so here we are on Osaka's website, gone into the paddle section. And if we just check out here, we have the custom racket design. So you can see kind of the options. They all fit and kind of maintain the Osaka asterisk design, but let's see if we can do something interesting here. All right, so I wound up going for something relatively simple here. I think paddle rackets can often be over-designed, too aggressive. So let's go for something simple and see how it turns out. I think it's gonna take about a month for it to be delivered, and then I'll catch you guys back on the court when we wind up testing it out. You can see here, the price is about 250 euros. All right, everybody, it's been about a month and the Osaka Custom Pro has arrived and it looks exactly as I expected it. We have the Osaka asterisk on here, big old Osaka branding, but you can also see Padel FYI written on there. So what you can customize is the colors in the circle, around the edges, around here, also the colors along the frame. And then you get about 15 characters to print for your brand or for your name or whatever you want to put there. So the customizing experience was actually pretty cool. It felt very special. It felt like I was going to receive something that, I don't know, I participated in the creation of. That being said, I wanted to put a logo. That wasn't possible. And I also wanted to, I guess, remove some of the Osaka branding or make it less obvious, but that also wasn't possible. But I think it's pretty cool experience. Yeah, it gives kind of the special touch. So now that we've gotten the customization out of the way, let's talk about the specs. So starting as usual from the bottom, we have a cuffed Osaka branded wrist strap that goes up to this interchangeable. You can change the straps just by unlooping them from this knot here. Long handle, 14-ish centimeters, very narrow though. I have not been playing with a overgrip, but I will start to play with an overgrip. Slightly bulged at the bottom. Goes up to this bridge here. It's got like 3 triangles on it. I think this in combination with the indented frame provides quite a lot of rigidity actually. I noticed a lot of rigidity, especially in the bottom of the racket face. Sandpaper roughness around the racket face adds a lot of grip. We have, of course, a round shape. In terms of the materials, they're using 3K carbon on the surface and the touch foam. They have like 2 different types of Ava. This is the harder one. We'll talk about the sensations when we get to the court. And in terms of the weight, it's normally weighing around 360 grams. This model in particular weighs about 362 grams and is balanced at 26.5 centimeters. All right, so jumping to the court, Osaka has an interesting approach to their paddle rackets. They really prioritize the lightness of the rackets to make them easy to maneuver. So that is one of the first things I felt with this racket. So it has, yes, like a medium balance, and it's not like it's underweighted, but it feels like it really prioritizes maneuverability. I would perhaps suggest this for a player who's good at defending or wants help with their defending, or maybe a right side player. So in the back of the court, you have tons of time. I get kind of mixed sensations when it comes to the hardness of the racket. In general, it plays like a medium hard racket. It does not have, for example, the vibration reduction and comfort of most Adidas foams. It has like a priority on precision and placement, particularly from the back of the court. You have a lot of control, both with the round shape and with the hardness that it gives you. That of course means that its sweet spot is slightly smaller, particularly if you hit it down here or around the frame. It's not a terribly small sweet spot, but it's not too big. You really want to make contact really right here, almost in the center of the design here. It feels very light, so that's good in the ground strokes, that's good in chiquitas, that's good when you're blocking, but you might have to, really hold it firmly in order for the racket to not go too far back, which then results in the ball going off to the side and to the wall. When it comes to shots like bajadas, you won't have the weight in the tip to give you additional power on the ball. but I think it's fine. I think like that's just the compromise that you make when you go with a racket like this. I do really feel confused about the touch though. And I've played with this several times. It's not like because I don't know it yet. I know what this racket feels like. It feels sometimes like it's playing hard, and sometimes like it's playing soft. I think part of that is the result of it just being a lighter frame. I think harder rackets that have lighter weights wind up feeling harder because you don't get the stabilization that a heavier weight will provide. And then part of me was also wondering if they actually use multi-ava in here. It definitely feels quite hard in slower balls, but when you get faster balls, you notice a little bit of indentation. In the beginning, I felt like most of the hardness was coming from the surface. And as I started to play it more, I changed my mind and felt like the rigidity was actually coming from the foam itself. What I mean by that is that there is less of a change in response when you move from the center towards the frame of the racket, as you would have if you had a harder surface and a softer core. Moving to the middle of the court, this racket gives you a lot of space to do rouleaus. This is one of the times where I'd say where a racket suits the right side, I think much more than the left side. I played with this on both sides, but I think when you're going for ganchos, bandejas, rouleaus from the right side as a right-handed player, I think this racket suits that a lot more than the left side, where you really want a little bit more weight to put the ball deeper into the corner. This racket gives you those shallow overheads much more than the deeper ones. This racket gives you a lot of spin. You have this grip from this sandpaper all over the place, and it gives you, above all, just the agility and maneuverability and lightweight comfort of knowing that you can precisely contact the ball at the angle and the height and altitude that you're looking for when you can like control every aspect of your racket at a second's notice right before you make contact with the ball. So that's where I think this excels. I expected it to play really poorly in smashes, but it really doesn't. You get a good springy response from it. Springy maybe gives the wrong impression, like it's a bouncy soft core. It's not soft. I should not give that impression, but it gives you this oomph when you contact the ball right in the middle and do a flat smash that it doesn't really absorb the ball very much. I mean, a tiny bit, but not very much. So you don't have too much weight and you don't have too much balance, but you have enough to easily make the ball come back if you do a good topspin or flat smash. Moving to the net. This, of course, is where I did not like the racket as much. I mean, it's not really made to excel at the net with great volleys, but that's kind of what you get for a racket like this. You can put good slice on them. You can come through them quite easily. You can adjust blocks at the last minute, but it's not going to be the most powerful one when you're hitting chancletazos, and that's fine. And I think and on the other hand, maybe your drop shots will be easier. You'll definitely be able to respond much faster. Definitely will want to make sure that you're not responding too fast and trying to overswing on your volleys in order to get that extra power. That's something that you'll find during the adjustment period with this racket. But again, I would not consider power to be a major con of this racket. It's enough because it has a reasonably hard touch. Should you buy this racket? Is this racket for you? I think it looks really cool. Of course, I tried to do something that was like a combination of the Padel FYI logo and the blue of paddle courts. What do you think? Do you think I did it? I don't know. What I'm trying to say is the reason that you should buy this racket is if you want these customization benefits. Of course, not everyone really cares so much about that, but if you do, if you want to have a cool style, I think it's pretty fun to do the process of designing it. Maybe give it a spin on the app on their website. It's really easy to play with, the colors and everything. And also I have never seen anyone else with this so far, so I think it's an underappreciated feature. You should also consider this racket if you want a long-handled, round-shaped racket. I've not seen so many long-handled, round-shaped rackets. I like them a lot. I don't like the short handles. Here's what it looks like here. It's also quite absorbing. And of course, you should go for this racket if you want something that's slightly versatile but prioritizes control over power. This, I think, is the definition of this racket. Maneuverable and control-oriented, but enough versatility to give you the power when you ask for it. I think those who like the feel of sandpaper roughness would probably like this racket a lot. And in terms of why you should not buy this racket, you should definitely not buy this racket if you can't wait for a month for it to, I think when I ordered it, it said it would take like 5 weeks. It took a week less than that, but it's still a month to wait for a racket before it's shipped to you. So if you don't have the time, you know, maybe plan ahead if you see your rackets getting old and take a look at this one. If you don't have the time, then you can go for the non-customized version of this one, for example. I also wouldn't recommend this racket to those who are looking for a comfortable, stable racket. This is not really, you know, it doesn't have the weight to add to the stability, and it doesn't feel so comfortable. I've of course been, again, playing without overgrips. I'm gonna add some overgrips and do some more sessions with it because I do like playing with it a lot. I think the most important thing is the foam, is the core. This just doesn't give that feeling. I think like in a similar way to Starby is even more extreme in terms of like prioritizing durability and sensation of the ball over comfort. This one's maybe in the middle between Starby and Adidas, but this doesn't have that comfort component. You get some more feeling of the ball, which I think leads to a little bit of vibrations. I also don't recommend this racket to lower intermediate players because it doesn't have a massive sweet spot. The sweet spot is not that big for a round racket. It's kind of what you get when you get a harder racket. I also, as I've said in previous videos, think that lightweight rackets have smaller sweet spots than heavier rackets. I think the weight adds to the power that goes through the ball if you miss the sweet spot a little bit. So don't get this if you need or want a big sweet spot. Don't get this if you've just started playing paddle. Wait and go for another racket with a softer touch, with a bigger sweet spot, and I think you will like playing paddle more if you do that. All right, that is it for the review of this beautiful custom, am I complimenting myself by calling it beautiful, of the custom Osaka racket. If you do something like this, give me a tag on Instagram or whatever social stuff, and I would love to see what designs you come up with. There is a discount on Osaka, 10%, if you use Padel FYI10. So if you're interested in anything, balls, overgrips, help me by commenting below. I've also been starting to put a little bit of effort into the newsletter. So if you're interested in seeing what's going on there, it's a lot of different content from what's happening on the YouTube. But give it a subscribe and I will get back to you guys soon with a new video. Thank you and take care. See you on the court.